Imagine an invisible mountain, a mountain so massive that it dwarfs the combined height of all the world's tallest peaks. This unseen colossus is not made of rock or ice, but of discarded items, neglected leftovers, and obsolete products. It's a mountain of waste, a testament to our throwaway culture, and it's growing larger with each passing day. The scale of global waste production is staggering. Every second, humanity discards thousands of tons of waste. This waste isn't just an eyesore. It's an environmental, economic, and social problem of immense proportions. From plastic bottles that pollute our oceans, to electronic gadgets that end up in landfills, to food that gets tossed away uneaten, the waste we generate has far-reaching consequences. These consequences aren't confined to our local neighborhoods or even our countries. They're global. They're felt by wildlife choked by plastic, by communities living near overflowing landfills, and by future generations who will inherit a planet scarred by our wasteful habits. Yet, the waste mountain isn't just a symbol of the problem, it's also a symbol of missed opportunities. Imagine if we could transform this mountain into a resource, into something useful. Imagine if we could reduce the amount we throw away, reuse what we can, and recycle the rest. We could turn this mountain of waste into a molehill. But to do that, we need to understand the scale of the problem. We need to know how much we're throwing away, what we're discarding, and where it's all ending up. We need to understand the impact of our waste, not just on our environment, but on our economy, our society, and our health. The unseen mountain of waste is a problem we've all helped to create, but it's also a problem we can all help to solve. By exploring the scale and impact of global waste production, we can start to see the mountain for what it really is: a challenge to be overcome, a call to action, and an opportunity to create a more sustainable future. This unseen mountain, my friends, is the global scale of waste production, a towering issue that continues to grow each day. The numbers are staggering, almost beyond comprehension. Imagine for a moment a mountain of garbage. Now imagine that mountain multiplied by 2 billion. That's the amount of waste we, as a global population, produce annually. To put this in perspective, if we were to load all of this waste onto trucks, those trucks would wrap around the Earth 24 times. And that's just in a single year. Imagine the accumulation over a decade or a century. But let's take a step back. How did we get here? The truth is, the problem isn't new. It's been increasing steadily over the past few decades. In the 1950s, the global population was approximately half of what it is today, and yet we produced only a fraction of the waste. Why the increase? There are a few factors at play here. One is the sheer growth in population. More people inevitably means more waste. But it's not just about numbers. Our lifestyles have changed dramatically. We live in a culture of consumption where goods are produced, used, and discarded at an astonishing rate. Think about it. How many times have you upgraded your phone in the last 5 years? How many single-use plastic items do you use in a day? Every product we buy, every package we open, contributes to this growing problem. It's not just household waste either. Industrial waste, construction debris, electronic waste, they all add up. And while some of this waste can be recycled or composted, a significant portion ends up in landfills, or worse still, in our oceans and natural environments. While we've made strides in waste management and recycling, the reality is that we are still producing more waste than we can handle. And this isn't just an environmental issue. It's a health issue, an economic issue, a social issue. The sad truth is our waste production is growing faster than our population, and that's a problem that needs immediate attention. It's a problem that affects us all, and it's a problem that we all have a role in solving. If there's one material that symbolizes our throwaway culture, it's plastic. A seemingly harmless everyday material, plastic has become a global menace, the unwanted legacy we're leaving behind for future generations. Every year we produce nearly 300 million tons of plastic. That's equivalent to the combined weight of all the adult humans on the planet. What's more alarming is that more than half of this plastic is used just once and then discarded. Our oceans have become the unfortunate dumping grounds for a significant portion of this waste. It's estimated that up to 12 million tons of plastic find their way into the oceans each year. That's enough to fill 5 grocery bags for every foot of coastline on the planet. The impact on marine life is devastating. Plastic debris injures and kills millions of sea creatures annually. Sea turtles mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, their favorite food. Seabirds, mistaking tiny plastic particles for fish eggs, feed them to their chicks, causing them to starve to death with full stomachs. But it's not just marine life that's affected. Plastic waste also infiltrates our food chain, with microplastics discovered in everything from table salt to drinking water. The long-term effects of consuming these microplastics are still unknown, but the initial findings are far from comforting. Failing to manage plastic waste also contributes to climate change. Plastics release greenhouse gases as they degrade, and the plastic production process is heavily reliant on fossil fuels. In fact, if the plastic industry were a country, it would be the world's fifth largest emitter of greenhouse gases. This plastic crisis is a clear indication of our collective failure to value and manage the resources at our disposal. It calls for urgent action, not just from governments and corporations, but every one of us. Plastic, the unwanted legacy of our time, is wreaking havoc on our planet. As we move forward, it's crucial that we rethink our relationship with this ubiquitous material, reducing our reliance on it and finding sustainable alternatives wherever possible. In our digital age, a new kind of waste is silently piling up. We're talking about electronic waste, or e-waste, a quiet yet rapidly growing problem in our modern world. Imagine the countless devices we use every day: smartphones, computers, televisions, even your trusty old toaster. All of these gadgets and appliances have a lifespan, and when they reach their end, they become e-waste. Now let's put this into perspective. Every year, the world generates approximately 50 million metric tons of e-waste. That's about the weight of all the commercial aircraft ever made, or enough Eiffel Towers to fill Manhattan. Shocking, isn't it? But it's not just the sheer volume that's concerning. E-waste is a complex cocktail of various metals, plastics, and chemicals. Some of these elements, like gold and copper, are valuable and can be recovered. Others, however, are hazardous. Lead, mercury, and certain flame retardants lurk inside our electronic devices, posing risks to human health and the environment if not properly managed. Management and recycling of e-waste is a significant challenge. The complexity of the waste stream, the rapid evolution of technology, and the lack of public awareness all contribute to this problem. It's estimated that only 20% of global e-waste is recycled each year. The rest? It's either dumped, traded, or informally processed, often in conditions harmful to both people and the planet. The e-waste issue also shines a light on our consumption patterns. Our desire for the latest gadgets and our throwaway culture are fueling this silent crisis. But as consumers, we also hold the power to change this narrative. By choosing to repair, reuse, or recycle our electronic devices, we can help stem the tide of e-waste. E-waste, the silent threat of our time, is an issue we can no longer ignore. It's not just about the gadgets we use and discard, it's about the health of our planet and future generations. It's high time we turn this silent threat into a loud call for action. We live in a world of plenty, yet we waste so much. This statement rings particularly true when we turn our attention to the scandal that is food waste. Every year, approximately 1/3 of all the food produced globally, which is around 1.3 billion tons, is wasted. Yes, you heard it right. Billion with a B. This is not just a staggering amount of wasted resources, but also a profound economic loss, equating to nearly $1 trillion each year. Food waste isn't merely an issue of lost economic potential. It's also a significant contributor to environmental degradation. When we waste food, we're also wasting all the energy, water, and land that went into producing it. And it doesn't end there. When food waste decomposes in landfills, it releases methane, a greenhouse gas that is 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide in trapping heat in our atmosphere. Moreover, food waste is a social issue. While we discard enormous quantities of food, hundreds of millions of people around the globe go to bed hungry every night. It's a stark contrast that highlights the inequity in our global food distribution and consumption patterns. But here's the silver lining. Since food waste is a problem largely created by humans, we have the power to solve it. Simple changes in our daily habits can make a significant difference. Planning our meals, shopping wisely, using leftovers creatively, and understanding best before dates can help us waste less food at home. On a larger scale, businesses can implement strategies to reduce food waste in their operations. Governments can establish policies that encourage food waste reduction and surplus food donation. And innovation can play a key role too, with new technologies emerging to help us manage and reduce food waste more effectively. The scandal of food waste is a problem that we can and must solve. So let's start today, because every small step we take towards reducing food waste is a step towards a more sustainable and equitable world. Our landfills are brimming and space is running out. Imagine a city not of buildings and parks, but of waste. Mountains of discarded items reaching skyward, a monument to our throwaway culture. That's the reality of our landfills today. Landfills, the most common method of waste disposal, are rapidly reaching their capacity. Each day, millions of tons of waste are dumped into these sites, creating a pressing problem. The sheer volume of waste we generate is overwhelming our ability to manage it effectively, but it's not just about space. Overflowing landfills also pose serious environmental and health risks. Leachate, a toxic liquid that seeps from waste, can contaminate soil and groundwater, affecting both wildlife and human populations. And let's not forget the potent greenhouse gases like methane that are released as waste decomposes, contributing to climate change. So what can be done? We can't simply create more landfills. The solution lies in managing our waste more sustainably. This isn't rocket science, but it does require a shift in our attitudes and actions. One way forward is to embrace the principles of the circular economy, where waste is viewed not as a problem but as a resource. By designing products to be easily repaired, reused, or recycled, we can reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills. Innovation also plays a critical role. Technologies like waste-to-energy plants, which convert garbage into electricity, provide an alternative to landfills. And then there are the pioneers in bioengineering, who are developing organisms capable of breaking down our waste more safely and efficiently. And let's not forget the power of individual action. By composting our organic waste, reducing our consumption, and recycling whenever possible, we can each play a part in easing the pressure on our landfills. The overflowing landfills are a ticking time bomb, and we need to defuse it soon. For the sake of our planet and future generations, let's turn the tide on waste. Let's transform our trash mountains into monuments of sustainability. Recycling is our best weapon against waste, but it's a weapon we're not using effectively. Let's dive into the numbers, shall we? Globally, we recycle just over 20% of our total waste, a number that, quite frankly, is alarmingly low. This figure includes everything from paper and plastic to electronics and organic waste. Now, you might question, why is it so low? Aren't we all recycling? Well, the truth is, recycling isn't as straightforward as it seems. It's a complex process that faces a slew of challenges. For instance, recycling requires well-established systems and infrastructure, which unfortunately not all regions have. Additionally, not everything we throw into our recycling bins can be recycled. Items like plastic bags, styrofoam containers, and certain types of glass often end up in landfills, despite our best intentions. Even when items are recyclable, they need to be properly cleaned and separated, something that doesn't always happen. And let's not forget about the economic angle. In many cases, it's cheaper for companies to produce new materials rather than recycle old ones, further discouraging recycling efforts. But don't let this deter you. Despite the challenges, recycling holds immense potential. It conserves natural resources, reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and can even save energy compared to producing new materials. It's an integral part of sustainable waste management, a tool we need to wield more effectively. So, what can we do? For starters, we need to educate ourselves and others about proper recycling practices. We need to advocate for more investment in recycling infrastructure and technologies. We need to hold corporations accountable for their role in the waste problem, encouraging them to design products that are easier to recycle and to use recycled materials in their products. In short, we need to rethink our approach to waste, viewing it not as garbage, but as a resource that, if managed properly, can help us mitigate the environmental impacts of our consumerist lifestyles. The recycling paradox is a challenge we need to overcome to win the war against waste. Our waste has a price tag, and it's the environment that's paying the bill. This is not just a catchy phrase, but the stark reality of our current global waste crisis. The consequences of our waste are far-reaching and profound, affecting every aspect of our environment. Let's talk about climate change. Yes, our garbage is accelerating this global crisis. When organic waste decomposes in landfills, it produces methane, a potent greenhouse gas that is 25 times more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in our atmosphere. The result? Rising global temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events. Now imagine this. Every year, landfills worldwide generate approximately 7.6 billion metric tons of methane. That's equivalent to the greenhouse gas emissions of over 1,600 coal-fired power plants. But the environmental price tag of our waste doesn't stop at climate change. Our oceans, once teeming with life, are now choking on plastic. Over 1 million seabirds and 100,000 marine mammals die each year due to plastic ingestion and entanglement. And what about our soil? The very foundation of our food system is under threat. Toxic substances from e-waste, plastic, and chemicals contaminate our soil, seeping into our food chain and threatening biodiversity. This isn't about pointing fingers or painting a gloomy picture of doom. It's about understanding the true cost of our waste. It's about acknowledging that every piece of trash we generate has a ripple effect that extends beyond our garbage bins and landfills. So, what's the bottom line? The environmental price tag of our waste is a bill that future generations cannot afford to pay. We're not just borrowing this planet from our children, we're leaving them with a debt that they may never be able to repay. It's time to rethink our relationship with waste. It's time to shift from a throwaway culture to a sustainable one, because the price of inaction is simply too high. And remember, the best waste is the one we never produce. Change starts with us, with every choice we make. Our daily decisions, from the products we buy to the food we consume, play a significant role in waste production. Every item we choose not to recycle, every piece of plastic we use once and discard, contributes to the growing global waste crisis. But it's not all doom and gloom. Our behavior as consumers has the potential to create a significant positive impact as well. By becoming more conscious consumers, we can help reduce waste production. This includes simple actions like choosing products with less packaging, composting organic waste, or opting for reusable items instead of disposable ones. But awareness is key. We can't change what we don't know. So it's crucial that we educate ourselves and others about the impact of our consumption habits on the world around us. Remember, the power to change the world is in our hands, in our choices. Governments have a crucial role to play in tackling the waste crisis. They do this by implementing policies, launching initiatives, and promoting sustainable practices that reduce waste and lessen the burden on our planet. Governments worldwide are recognizing the urgency of the situation and are stepping up to the plate. For example, they are introducing regulations to reduce single-use plastics, promoting recycling programs, and investing in research for innovative waste management solutions. They're also educating the public about the importance of reducing, reusing, and recycling waste. But it's not just about implementing laws and regulations. It's about setting an example. When governments lead by example, they inspire businesses, communities, and individuals to follow suit. Furthermore, governments can facilitate change by providing incentives for businesses to adopt sustainable practices and for consumers to make eco-friendly choices. The role of governments is not just to lead, but to inspire, motivate, and facilitate change. The future of waste is not written in stone. We can shape it. As we stand on the precipice of a new era, we find ourselves armed with the power of technology, innovation, and most importantly, a unified community. Emerging trends point towards a future where waste is not an end, but a beginning of a cycle that turns yesterday's garbage into tomorrow's resources. Technologies like waste-to-energy plants, biodegradable materials, and artificial intelligence-based recycling systems are already reshaping our waste landscape. Yet, it's not just about the tangible. It's about fostering a culture of responsibility and sustainability, about creating a world where every individual understands their role in waste management. Community engagement, education, and grassroots initiatives are the backbone of this cultural shift. They inspire behavioral changes, spark conversations, and create ripple effects that reach far beyond individual households. The future of waste can be different, it can be sustainable, but we need to act now. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've journeyed through the global trash mountain, faced the shocking numbers of our waste production, and confronted the unwanted legacy of plastic. We've delved into the silent threat of e-waste, the scandal of food waste, and the overflowing landfills that are a testament to our consumption. We've grappled with the paradox of recycling and felt the weight of the environmental price tag. We've understood the power of change that lies in each of our hands, the role of governments, and peered into the future of waste management. These unbelievable statistics are not just numbers, they are a mirror reflecting our choices, our habits, and our lifestyles. Every piece of trash we produce is a choice that impacts our planet. It's time we make the right choices.